let's talk about polynomials. Okay, so poly, what does poly mean? It means many, right? So let's figure out how we are going to define it. Okay, so it means many terms. Then we have to figure out what does one term mean first, right? So we need to talk about what is a term, an item, okay? So we say a term in math is what? A number, right? It's an item, right? Okay, a number or a product of a number and variables. So it's a combination of what? The numbers and the variables. When we put them together, we multiply them together. Then we call it what? An item, right? An item or a term. And also the variable, okay, which can be raised to powers. So for the things to raise to powers, that means it will look like what? Like x cubed, right? Then same thing as xxx multiplied together, right? So a product, whatever the things multiplied together with numbers as well, I can do that, right? We call them what? An item, a term. Okay, so I might have this way, or I can have x squared and y. How many terms do you think that would be? A product. So still one item. Okay, that's how we treat it in algebra. And this item, within this item, and you have things, squeeze them together, multiply together, right? Or I can have what? Negative, say, 4, maybe x squared, right? It's all one item. We call it what? A term. So first we define what one term is before we can talk about many terms. Okay, so and another one we use is something we call numerical coefficient. So numerical must be what? A number, right? So a term, an item, can have a number in it, right? So for the number part of it, we say it is the numerical factor of each term. Numerical part of it, we call it what? Numerical coefficient. Or we can just call it coefficient. Okay, so if I have, say, negative 7 x to the 5th power, how many terms I have for this one? One term, right? Then if I put them together, say plus 4x cubed, how many terms I have? What do you think? Each one is one term, right? Put it together, we will have how many? 3 of them. If I say, okay, minus 8. So how many terms I will have? I will have 4 terms, right? So the terms are separated by plus and minus signs. Okay? Then the number part of it is called coefficient. So for each term, so this coefficient for x squared is what? -4. For this term, -7x5 coefficient is what? -7. Then if I don't have anything here, plus x cubed, this term, what do you think the coefficient would be? Invisible 1. Is that right? Okay? So numbers, we don't talk about coefficient because those are for what? For the x's. Okay? So then we talk about many terms. So a poly, right? Polynomial in x. We just talk about one variable for now. Okay? So it has what? Many terms. For each term, it will look like what? You will have x, right? Just for one variable. Then to some power. Power can be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, and maybe 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Like those. Multiple of x's. So multiplication of x itself for x with exponent, right? So that's each term will look like that. At the same time, you might have coefficient in front of it. So each term will look like this. Then we say poly means many of those, right? You have varieties of n can be 2 different numbers, right? So we say a polynomial will be what? It is a, not a forever, but a finite sum of terms, okay? Of terms of the form like those, okay? And for A, the coefficient will be what? A real number, okay? So take a look. If n is 0, when n is 0, we say anything to the 0 power is what? 1, right? So if for a number, say 8, right? 8 will be what? 8 times x to the 0 power because that's 1, right? So it's the same. So for the number part, it's like you have a variable behind it, but only with 0 power, okay? So all the terms can be, you know, expressed to as x to some power, but the n can be what? 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay? So that's clarify everything we use so you have a clear idea. Okay? So when we talk about it, then you know what it means. Then finite sum means what? You add all them together. Okay, like this, right? We have 4 terms, right? This one is like x to the 0 power. Okay. Then we say descending power for a poly, also called what? Standard form. So standard form means what? You write a poly, the power is from higher to the lower. The power of the variable, okay, decreases. From the left to right. Okay, so going down that way. So if you look at this one, do you think it's a standard form? For the power, this one is 2530, right? So it's not from higher to the lower. So we will not call this standard form. If we write this one standard as a standard form, how will we write it? So highest power is x5th, right? So also the sign goes with the thing item behind it, okay? So this negative belongs to this. So you will write a negative 7x to the 5th power. Next one is x cubed. So you write add a 3x cubed. Next one will be what? Minus 4x squared, then minus 8. If you want to write the standard form for this one, this poly, you need to write it this way. That's what we mean. Okay? Then for the monomial, what is monomial? Monomial, what do you think mono means? Means one, right? So monomial means what? A poly with how many terms? With exactly one term, right? That would be monomial. For binomial, what do you think? You would be with what? 2 terms, right? We use this quite often, okay? So trinomial would be what? Tri means what? 3. So that would be with what? 3 terms, okay? Then we talk about within a term, we will talk about degree, okay? We will talk about degree of a term and degree of a poly. 2 different things, okay? Degree of term is only consider one term. Within one term, what's the highest power it can be, right? So degree of a term means what? In each term, we talk about individually. Okay? It is sum of the exponent of all the variables. Okay? So if it's just one variable like this term, what's the degree for this term? 3. What's the degree for this term? 5. But look at this one. You have 2 variables. What's the degree for this one? You see, this is the invisible 1. So the degree for this term, still one term, right, would be 3. Okay? Then degree of a poly will not be just one term, will be all this, right? Then each term, you have different degrees, right? So for the poly, for many, many terms, then we would do this, okay? it is the highest one, highest degree of any term of the poly. Okay, so for this one, we will call it what? The highest power is what? 5. Then we will call this one 5th degree polynomial. Okay? It's different from individual term. Individual term, this is a 2 degree, 2nd degree, 5th degree, 3rd degree, 0 degree. But among all of them, it's a poly, then you choose highest degree. That would be what? The degree for the polynomial. Okay? We also talk about constant term. What is a constant term? It is the term that is only a number. Okay? The degree is 0, so the number part of it, we'll call it a constant. Also, we talk about leading coefficient. So leading coefficient is what? Like this one, who is leading? You don't say it's -4 because we wanted to talk about standard form. For standard form, who is leading? Actually, it's -7. So for this poly, we say the leading coefficient is what? -7. Okay? So those are the terms we use when we deal with polynomials. Okay? So let's take a look. Then identify those. Okay? So we just talk about all the things here. Then if we look at the next one on your page 39, we say, okay, decide how many terms are in each expression, right? So for the first one, 5x squared q y z 6. How many terms do you think that is? Each term is what? Is that one term or two term? We say a product of things. We squeeze them together. We call them what? Just an item, right? So if I have a basket like this, we call it one item. But within this item, I may have many things, but I squeeze them together. I will call it just one item, okay? One term. So this is one term. And if we have 5x to the q plus y plus z6, how many terms do you think there is? 3, because each one is 1, so you have 3 terms, right? So if I have 12, how many terms there is? Number is a term, one term. So if we have m, how many terms there are? One term, right? If we have 2d plus 4f, what do you think? How many terms there are? 2, right? So each term is separated by what? Plus and minus signs, right? Then, next one, we want to find out the coefficient for each thing, okay? So we have c is -m squared, d is -8, right? So this coefficient is what? The number before the x, -4. This one, you don't have anything, means what? Invisible 1. This one would be what? Negative m squared would be -1. And this one doesn't have a variable. We say coefficient is the number before the variable, right? But this one we know is variable x, but to the 0 power, right? So power has to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up. If we write x -5, just in case you will learn that later, we will call it a poly? No. Polynomials have to be the power is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, up. So this one, your coefficient will be -8. Next one, write each one in what? Standard form. So this one, q minus 11 minus m squared. So write it in standard form. What do you think? From the standard form means what? From highest power to the lower one. So this one is 4mq. Next one is minus m squared. Then write a 6m minus 11. Number is at the end, we call it constant. Okay, because that's m to the 0 power. That would be lowest one. From 0 up, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, this way. And if we have 8 plus 5y, what do you think? We will write what? 5y plus 8. Always write the number, the constant at the end. Okay, next one, it asks you, we have those. B is 12, C is n, D is 2d plus 4f. Oh, we have here, right? Then it asks you, which one is a monomial? Mono, one term. Yes, one term, right? One term, one term. This is 2 terms, so that's not mono. Okay, next one. We wanted to find out what's the degrees for each term. Okay? So we say degree of the term is what? Total powers. How powerful it is, how high it goes. It's called a degree. Okay? So D is 15x, y 2z8, e is 8, right? So what's the degree for the variable? We are talking about variable. This is a degree, 5th degree. This one, 2 variables, but you see how high both rise up, right? So total 6. This one is invisible 1. This one will be what? 1 plus 2 plus 8. That would be what? 11, right? Then for this one, how many degrees? Degrees we are talking about is for the variable, which is 0. So that's 0 degree. Okay, then let's look the bunch of other things. Okay, we'll talk about degree of the term and the degree of a poly. It's different. Okay, now we want to talk about poly. So first one, 6 fourth minus 7x cubed y squared plus 3. So we will classify the polynomial with what? How many terms they are and what's the degree. Okay, so we would classify them with how many terms? How many terms? Okay, and also classify it by degree, okay? So how many terms? 3 terms. So we call it what? Trinomial. Okay, then what's the degree? Highest one is 5, 5th degree, because 2 variables together rise up to 5, right? So we will call this one what? 5th degree trinomial. That's how we will say it. Okay, talk about degrees, talk about how many terms to describe a polynomial. So if we have 14 minus 2x, we will say this one is what? 2 terms. We will say it's what? Binomial. How many degrees? 1 degree. We will say what? 1st degree binomial. Okay, we use 2 things to describe a polynomial. Okay, one is by degree, one is by how many terms. So you can tell, what's going on. Like this one, you will say what? How many degrees? 3rd, right? 3rd degree for 4th polynomials, okay? 4 terms. Then after 4, above 4 terms, we don't really describe. We just say, oh, 3rd degree polynomial, okay? We don't use monomial, binomial, trinomial. We just say they are poly most of the time, okay? So if 15 means what? How many degrees? 0 degree, right? How many terms? 1 term. We will say it is 0 degree monomial. That's how we will describe a poly. Okay. Next one, give the leading coefficient and the constant term of each one. So for this one, which one is your leading coefficient? Don't say 5, because you have to write in a standard form with the highest degree. So leading coefficient is -2, then constant is what? The number part is 13, right? Then for this one, binomial, what's your leading coefficient? 7. What's your constant? 11. Okay, then for next one, number 8, we have, say, are they like terms? You have what? 4x, 3x squared, right? First one, that's right over there, so you can see. Okay, first one is 4x, 3x squared, right? Next one, 4x, 3y. Next one, 4x, 3x. Next one, 4x and 4. Next one, 3x and 3 big X. Okay, 3 is the same. All right, that's 4. That's 4. Then we say, what are like terms? This is 1 term, this is 1 term. Would you say them the same term? Okay, let's talk about it. So if I have a square and another square, right? Do you think you will say they are the same, similar terms, they are alike? Yes. Even say I have 1 square, I have 5 squares. Are they, you will say they are like terms? Sure. Okay, so this square is like x squared and the x squared. So x squared and 5x squared, we will say they are like terms, right? But if I have 1 square and 1 cube, do you think they are like terms? You will say no, right? Because this one is like x squared, this one would be what? X cubed. So they are not like terms. So what kind of things we would say they are like terms? Like term means what? They have what? They are same variable in what? Same powers. Right? Only the coefficients can be different. Okay, so do you think 4x, 3x squared, are they like term? No. Right? Different powers. How about 4x and 3y? No, different variable. How about 4x and 3x? Yes. How about 4x and 4? How about 4x and 3 big X? No. Usually, a lot of time, we use a little p and big P. Right? Little p means what? Percentage. And big P, we might use for what? Pressure. So, when we use different characters, and even lowercase and uppercase, it might mean different things. Then there will not be like terms, right? So we just explained what are polynomials, right? Now, what we are going to do with polynomials? Just like your numbers, we are going to learn the basic skills. Like your fractions. What do we learn? We learn simplifying, right? Simplify, add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So we are going to learn some basic skills for the poly. Okay? So we are going to simplify and add and subtract them. Right? So we just talk about what kind of things are like terms. Like terms are, they have what? Same variable, right? So this one would be A, same variable, and they have what? Same power. Okay? Also, we can only what? Add and subtract the like terms. If they are not alike, like pesos and dollars, can you say 2 pesos plus $5 equals $7? No. 7 pesos? No, neither. Right? Only unless you change pesos to dollars or you change dollars to pesos, then you can put them together. So you can only combine what? Like terms. Okay? So let's take a look. If we have 14y squared plus 3 minus 10y squared minus 9. So how many terms we have right now? 4 terms. But we want to put pesos and pesos together, right? Dollars and dollars together, like terms. So do we have like terms here? Yes, those y's, right? So 14y squared minus 10y squared, what do you think? I have, say, 14 of the squares minus 10 of the squares. How many got left? So I will have what? 4 squares left, 4y squares, right? You combine your coefficients. Then number and number you know how to do. put it together. Okay? So don't mingle if you have, this is not on your paper. So if you have 2x plus 5x squared, can you put it together? You can't because they are not like terms. No, right? So that would be the simplest term. Or you have to say 2x cubed plus 5x squared. So you have 2 of the cubes and 5 of the squares. Can you put it together? No. So that would be the simplest form. Okay? So some of you will have difficulties for some reasons, but if you connect the thinking, then you'll be okay. Otherwise, you get stuck. Okay? You couldn't straighten out. Then we need to do this for all the algebra. Okay? So you need to kind of differentiate them to tell the difference. Then look at the second one, 2, 7, x cubed minus 1/4 x plus 2 minus 1/2 x cubed plus 3/8 x, right? So, do we have like terms? Yes, this and this, but we need to do fractions. They are all cubes. So they are all, this is square, that cubes. You have to put them together. So 2, 7 minus 1/2. How do you do? 14 as LCD, right? This times 2, that's 4. This times 7, that's 7. Then 4 minus 7 would be what? -3. So you have what? -3 of 14. Right? That's -3, 14. So you combine these two, that would be what? The cubes, right? Any other like terms? How about this one, right? Or x. So you have a -1/4 plus 3/8. So your denominator LCD would be what? 8. So this times 2, that would be -2. Right, plus 3, that would be what? 1/8, right? So for x, you have plus 1/8 of x, right? And number left would be this guy plus 2. That's how you combine like terms to make it simpler. Because the same kind, pesos, you want to consolidate them, dollars, you consolidate them. Right? So you want to put x, just one of kind together, x cubed by themselves together. Right? Then you cannot simplify anymore. That will be your answer. Okay? Next one. Let's take a look. Okay. And for this one, 7xy plus 2y squared minus 4yx squared. Okay. So, okay, x squared and x squared. We can put it together. That would be what? 6x squared. Right? And how about y's? Oh, okay. I have 2y squared minus y squared. I will have y squared, right? 2 minus 1. How about 7xy and yx? Are they the same? Is the 5 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 5? Yes. So x times y is the same thing as y times x. Okay, so those two are the same. So usually we follow alphabetical order. So you write x before the y. So 7 minus 4 is 3. So you write a 3xy. Okay, so that would be your answer. Wait. 7 minus 4, oh my goodness, is what? Plus. Or is a negative form. Okay, right? What are we doing? Think about it. We are doing the polynomials. So first we identify all the names we use, right? So we understand the meaning of it when we say the words, the concepts behind it. Then after that, we start to do what? Basic skills. We are doing what? Simplifying by combining like terms. Okay? Then we do add, subtract. So we are going to do addition. Okay, first one, you have this one, 4x squared y minus xy squared plus 5 plus negative. Okay, so first one, how many terms do we have? 3. How many terms do we have there? 2, right? Then we are going to add together. Then what do? We just put it like terms put together. So the skills we use, we call them what? Combine like terms. Okay, let's see. Like terms mean what? Same variable, same powers. So this is x squared y, this is x squared y, right? So put it together, that would be negative 2x squared y. And xy squared is different, so by itself minus xy squared, right? And numbers goes with numbers. 5 minus 1 is plus 4. So that will be the simplest form you will have. Okay? That's addition. Then we do subtraction. Okay, subtraction, you need to remember this. If a minus negative 5, what do you think? Negative, we do what? Change, right? Becomes what? A plus 5. So we do, if both are negative, you do what? Change. Okay? So then simplify it. You do it this way. Okay? Then same thing, when you subtract, it becomes what? When you subtract is what? You add its opposite. Okay? So your negative has to what? Distribute to the number behind it. Okay? So let's take a look how we are going to do those. You have x3 minus 2x squared minus 7x plus 1 and minus 3x cubed plus 4x minus 7. Okay, when you have a parenthesis, that means what? Whole thing is together. Then when you subtract, that means you need to minus everything behind it, inside of the whole group, right? So it means what? When we want to combine them, we have to take away the parentheses. Just like those regular things, then we can combine them. Each term has its own sign. Okay, so this one minus means what? I want to minus this guy, right? Then I want to minus positive 4x means I want to minus 4x, right? Then I want to minus 7 means what? Change, plus 7. That means when you take out the parentheses, you need to what? Change all the signs inside. Positive become negative, positive become negative, negative become positive. That means what? It's the same thing as you distribute the negative to everything inside. Okay? And for the first term, you can just write it out because it's positive in front of it. Then you can just write it directly. Okay? Then combine like terms. So this one, right? 1 minus 3 is -2 for the cubes. Okay? Then square thing is here just by itself, minus 2x squared, right? Then x thing, you have here, then you have here. Total will be what? -7 minus 4. You have -11x, right? And 1 plus 7, that would be 8. And that would be your answer. Right? And next one, if you have 2a squared minus ab plus 6b squared minus -a squared plus ab minus 7b squared. So when you minus something, means what? You distribute your negative to everything, everything becomes opposite, right? So this one becomes plus 3a squared. This one becomes minus ab. This one becomes plus 7b squared, right? So when we subtract, so we remove our parentheses first. Okay? Then we simplify it by combining like terms. So for a squared, together would be what? 5a squared, right? Then for ab minus 1 minus 1, so you're minus 2, right? Then for b squared, you have 6 here, 7 here. Total would be what? 13b squared, right? Okay, one more. Here say, subtract this, -7x plus 3, right? From this. So you need to write horizontally like those, right? The whole thing subtract whole thing. So it's a subtract this from, it's not by, okay? So that's English. So it's from here, then subtract this one. Subtract this from, right? You need to write horizontally the right way, okay? So this one is the same, this one minus, so you distribute. Negative become positive, negative positive become, that's how you do, right? Then you combine like terms, that would be what? 9x, number and number, that would be the answer, right? It's not bad, manageable, okay? But you just need to clarify in your head what you are doing, okay? So that would be your section 6.1, the polynomials we are talking about.